In the dusty outskirts of Valter Station's slum ring, nestled between rusted hulls of crashed freighters and collapsed satellite dishes, stood an old crooked building labeled simply, Griff's Met Bay Nitrogen Monoxide Questions, Nitrogen Monoxide Credit. Griff Maddox was a human gruff, silent, and brilliant with machines. Ex-military engineer, dishonorably discharged for something no one dared to ask about. He didn't speak much. His only companions were a glitchy servobot named Wrench, and the smell of oil that clung to his clothes like a second skin, one scorching. Crimson afternoon, as Valter's twin sons bled over the smog-choked skyline, the bay's door hissed open. She stepped in. Not many of her kind ever walked these parts. Accelerate, tall and porcelain skin with long crest-like horns curling over. Her head like a crown. Her robes were tattered. One of her forearms clutched the sparking flight core. "Need help," she said, her voice hoarse. Griff didn't look up from the mech leg he was welding. "No creds, no service." I have no credits," she admitted, lowering her eyes. "But I have data. I know how to." I said no questions. He stood inside, tossing the leg aside. "You got the part?" She showed him the melted mess. He muttered a curse. "That's not a part. That's a fried sandwich. Sit down. I'll make one from scratch." She blinked. "Why?" He grunted, already grabbing alloys. "You came in asking for help, not a handout. That means something." 2 hours later, her flight module was not only repaired, it was upgraded. Custom cooling system. Stabilized core. Organic responsive grip. No charge. She looked at him like he was some ancient myth. "You don't even know who I am." He shrugged, lighting a cigarette. "Don't care. You were broken. I fixed you. That's what I do." Her lips parted, unsure whether to cry or bow. "My name is Exura. I will not forget this." Griff nodded. "Once. Fly safe." She did. That night, Griff was tightening bolts on a busted mining drone when the ground shook. Wrench chirped nervously, detecting proximity alerts. Dozens of them. Griff walked to the bay door and pulled it open. The street outside glowed gold and silver. Massive luxury starships hovered in silence, perfectly aligned like a royal parade. Some bore symbols he barely recognized ancient royal. Houses, mercenary guilds, intergalactic merchant lords, figures descended in ornate armor and flowing robes. Dozens of alien guards fanned out in formation. At their center stood Exura, no longer in tatters, but draped in crystalline silk, her horns polished like ivory blades. Griff raised an eyebrow. "You again." She smiled. "I told you I wouldn't." "Forget." Behind her, a towering being in ceremonial armor stepped forward. Human Griff Maddox. "By decree of the Celestial Accord, and in gratitude for saving our air in her time of peril, you are hereby offered titles, land, and starships." Griff blinked. "Huh?" Exura stepped closer. "You fixed me without knowing who I was. I'm not just an accelerate. I'm High Princess of the Galactic Spiral. I left the palace to understand the suffering of the outer worlds. Your act of kindness, it changed everything." He looked around. Guards saluted him. Nobles bowed. EXIRA continued. "We wish to fund your work, expand your Met Bay into a planetary engineering hub. You'll never work alone again." Griff exhaled slowly, then chuckled. "What's funny?" Exura asked. He tossed his cigarette aside. "You're offering me fleets and palaces because I did what any decent mechanic should have done." "No," she said, smiling, "because you did it when everyone else turned me away." In the following weeks, the slums of Valter began to transform. Griff's Bay was rebuilt into Maddox Station, a spire of chrome and crystal, housing labs, workshops, and schools. He hired outlaws, ex-cons, drifters, anyone who could hold a wrench or dream of building. Exura kept her promise. Every corridor bore her royal crest beside the sigil Griff never wanted, a single gear, crossed by a wrench in flame. Still, he never left the ground floor, choosing to work elbow deep in oil. A reporter once asked him, Why didn't you demand payment back then? Griff just grunted, tightening a bolt. Because help given freely comes back bigger than you can imagine. And sometimes it comes surrounded by starships,